Hi, my name is Maritza Gonzalez, and the issue I chose was Education and Immigration, the Case of the Iranian American Community, by researchers Sina M. Musayeb and Ruzbeh Shirazi. What do the researchers set out to do? The researchers investigate the correlation between perceived educational opportunity, or lack thereof, and immigration of Iranian-born individuals living in the United States. Their research expands on existing literature by extending prevailing accounts of unfavorable conditions in Iran as push factors for immigration to include the draw of perceived educational opportunity as a coexisting and influential pull factor for immigration to the U.S. Why do the researchers feel it's relevant? The prevailing literature on Iranian immigration explains why people leave Iran, but accounts remaining limited to a unilateral force, namely unfavorably conditions in Iran. The researchers hypothesize that perceived educational opportunity is a significant attraction for Iranians in considering immigration to the U.S. The social and political freedoms in the U.S. can be associated with Iranians' relocation. Some historical background. The emergence of Islamic Republic has impacted the educational landscape of Iran. Radical shifts in the state's ideological framework have led to much change in the structure, content, and policies associated with education. In 1979, the Iranian monarchy was toppled by a broad-based revolution. Iranian universities were a hotbed of political activity during this time. Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini condemned higher education institutions in Iran as being the seat of moral corruption, claiming that our universities were West-toxicated. Many professors serviced the West, assumed they were brainwashing the youth. Khomeini even declared that all of Iran's backwardness has been due to the failure of most university-educated intellectuals to acquire correct knowledge of Iranian Islamic society. Because of this, the regime closed all institutions of higher education in April 1980, only to reopen them 3 years later after being purified and Islamicized. Researchers' findings and conclusions. The Cultural Revolution in Iran has had a significant impact on the educational and professional landscape of post-revolutionary Iran. The goals of the revolution has been associated with discriminatory treatment of various sectors of Iranian society, decreased educational quality and access, staggering rates of immigration. Political screening, defined by Hababi, is the use of administrative means to control access to higher education and public sector jobs. Educational policies in Iran propelled immigration from Iran to the U.S. in particular. The Cultural Revolution may be characterized as a threefold process: purification, preservation, and reproduction. Researchers' findings and conclusions continue. Due in part to the deteriorating quality, limited access, and restrictive policies related to higher education, immigration from Iran drastically increased in the years following the revolution. 283,225 Iranian-born immigrants were living in the U.S. by the year 2000. The associated brain drain has accompanied disenchantment with the stated policies of screening and purging, as well as declining education opportunities in Iran. After the purge of all anti-regime personnel, many of those selected for high-ranking positions in the public sector and academia neither had the required qualifications nor skills associated with their new posts. The researchers' survey study results. The researchers designed a survey to investigate opinions of Iranian Americans regarding education in Iran and the U.S., and reasons for immigration from Iran to the U.S. The survey consisted of 47 closed-ended questions and one open-ended comment section. These were their findings. Number 1. Religious and political persecution and lack of social freedoms are reasons for immigration from Iran. Pursuit of educational opportunities is a reason for immigration to the U.S. Number 2. An overwhelming majority of Iranians who immigrated to the U.S. left Iran in pursuit of educational opportunities for themselves or for their family members. Number 3, a majority of the Iranian Americans sampled would be willing to consider relocating or moving back to Iran if they perceived a positive and lasting change, political, social, economic, etc., in Iran in the foreseeable future. How are the researchers' findings or conclusions similar or dissimilar to ideas presented in the course? In the second half of the 20th century, the United States was indeed the global leader in education. It was the first country to achieve mass secondary education, as stated in our text of a world-class education. Now, as stated in the comparative education textbook, the way societies allocate schools, teachers, and other educational resources, that is the way societies distribute education to students, reflect efforts to reconcile natural tensions between values like equality and liberty. It's dissimilar in the ways that the United States provides an equal opportunity in education, unlike Iran did in this issue, because students were rejected in education due to their beliefs. Professors were selected based state supporters to produce a monolithic and ultimately hegemonic state ideology. My overall impression and thoughts. After reading this issue, it reminded me of how fortunate I am to live in a country that other people desire to live in for their freedom. I think it is very disappointing to see that students have to leave their country to acquire more equal opportunity in education because their country doesn't provide it for them. Everyone should be allowed the opportunity of an education because it benefits not only the individual but the country as a whole. Therefore, condemning higher education institutions in Iran was very selfish of Khomeini and his followers because it only pushed families to leave their country. And here are my references. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the presentation.